Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting, coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle featuring, spawning in the north, it's going to be the Wehrmacht forces of Minaslas, and spawning in the south, it is going to be the Soviet forces of Drago. And the map for our pleasure and delectation is going to be Angoville, which it feels like I haven't cast this map in like ages. Which is a great shame, because I actually think it's one of the best and certainly one of the most well-designed maps in the entire game. So yeah, it's really nice to be back on Angoville. And I gotta say, I'm kind of hyped to see some Wehrmacht versus Soviet action as well. For my money, these two factions represent the most vanilla, but also most well-balanced and well-matched factions in the game. So yeah, in my opinion, between two skilled players, pardon me, the Soviet versus Wehrmacht matchup is still very much a treat for the senses, and certainly as a caster, pretty spicy and entertaining. So let's see. Neither player's chosen a commander straight off the bat. Pretty standard stuff insofar as commanders actually goes. Not very much point in talking very much about it. Minaslas has got the elite troops, the mechanized assault, and the lightning war. That's it. I always forget, because lightning war and blitzkrieg almost mean the same thing, and there's like. So I always kind of get those two mixed up. But anyway, Drago here is running with the, pardon me, the Lend-Lease, the Guard Motor Coordination, and the Soviet Reserve Army, which is the only commander who I don't sort of see or expect to see almost every game, pretty much. So the Soviet Reserve Army, pardon me, does give you tank hunters, also gives you the conscript assault package upgrade, which I really like. The conscript repair kit can be very useful. Rapid conscription, you know what, I've almost never seen Soviet players use that, so I don't know. It might be good, it might not. I know it's good for Ostia, you know, when you can bring in those Ostrupen with the reserves, so maybe it's good. And of course then you've got the ML20 152 millimeter gun howitzer on that one as well. So an interesting commander, and to be honest, one I hope we see picked, because there's enough ambient structures on this map that I think that you can get some serious mileage out of those tank hunters. Hopefully they can put together some awkward vehicle kills. The ML120 is going to be useful in the late game, and conscript PPSHs. I mean, this is one of those maps with a lot of line of sight blockers where those PPSHs can actually, you know, you can get the drop and get some serious DPS onto the fragile Axis units. Speaking of fragile Axis units, there we go. Looks like Minaslas going to get that Grenadier squad out of there just in the nick of time. That's the sound of the MG42 here. Whoa! Catching a number of Russians in the arc. Those guys going to be forced to fall back for their lives here. And that's really nice, actually. Forcing more or less a triple fallback off of just like firing a single burst off of the MG42. That's value. And you can see here Minaslas hellbent on getting that MG into this building, because that is then serious issues for the south spawning player Drago. But Drago here gets some conscripts into the, I'm going to call this the God building for now, just in time. I hear an Ura going down. Where is oh, okay, he's just Uraing to get his units back to the front quickly. An interesting decision. Ura cost like, what, 10 munitions? And that was 3 squads he just Ura'd. So that was 30 munitions just to get back to the front a bit sooner. Now, ordinarily, that wouldn't really make any sense, but I think now it really does, because he knows he needs to get this MG42 out of here, or at least support his conscripts in this building so that they can hang in there a bit longer. The reason being, if that MG42 gets into this building, it's going to be a massive headache. So I actually quite like the spend of 30 munitions there. That does make sense. I'm not 100% sold that it was totally efficient, but I still think it was actually pretty groovy. And when the objective is to just keep an MG out of a building, yeah, I think that could have made a difference. Taking some pretty sweet fights. Whoa, Molotovs have been researched. What the Molotovs? Whoa, it's been a while since I've seen the old Tolomovs come into action. This Grenadier here could be focused, actually. Here comes the focus fire. You can see all the conscripts turn to face him. This guy is, he's so low, but it looks like Vasily here had a little bit too much vodka last night, and he's not quite shooting straight. Speaking of which, actually, Vasily here, last man in the squad. He's getting hosed by, oh, and the squad wipe is real. This squad also is turbo low, so actually this game could be over before it almost starts. Okay, whew, a double squad wipe there would have been absolutely terrible for Drago, but actually he looks like he's going to survive for now. Somewhat tail between his legs, though. Look at the map, not nearly as much map control as we tend to expect from allied players at this point in the game. And yeah, certainly he's going to have his work cut out. You never want to lose a squad, especially one of your core infantry squads at the sub 5 minute mark. That always stings. So we're going to have to see. These Grenadiers actually are just in a terrible position. They are in a horrible crossfire. They are getting rinsed here. They are getting rinsed. Oh! Oh, and there's the counter squad wipe. Whoa, Minaslas just not paying attention there for the longest time. And both of these players kind of throwing in a few mistakes, making a few errors, which I've got to say, slightly surprising. This was the top-rated game on the live games lobby, so you would expect probably not to see this many mistakes, but, you know, Company of Heroes 2 is a very demanding RTS, and even the best of us, of which I am certainly not one, do make mistakes from time to time. Looks like a Molotov going to find its way into this building. Grenadier's getting a lovely dodge there. That was very nice. Just getting out the building just in time. And, wow, pretty much all the action this entire game. Like, look at the amount of corpses, like, on this screen. I think most of the action has happened here. There's been a little bit of skirmishing over here, but, you know, compared to what's been going on the right flank, like, barely anything to speak of. And, of course, that's Angoville at work, the beautiful asymmetric design of this map, where you've got a lot more stuff on the right, but the left much more open and easier to take with fewer commitment of troops and stuff. So, a lot of decisions, a lot of strategic thinking, a lot of risks and rewards to be weighed up by the two players, and that's why certainly why I love this map. Now it looks like we've got some LMG-42s popping up on the Grenadiers here. They're going to be taking some sweet fights. I'm just going to quickly check the tech here for the Axis player. Okay, no sign of Battle Phase 2. He's getting the Leichter Mechanized Company up just now. Possibly this... well, it's too early, really, to try and get any kind of a read. But the main thing is he going to pick a commander who's pretty regular, or is he going to pick the Mechanized Assault Doctrine? That's what's going to shape this game from the Vermac point of view. Personally, I think Mechanized Assault, like, rules this map. But, I mean, elite troops is reasonable. I think if you're going to take elite troops, you normally take it a little bit earlier than this. You have access to the G43 upgrade package and the stun grenades. And, whoa, we're actually going to see a 251 half-track on the production queue here from Minaslas. So, he doesn't have nearly enough munitions for flamethrowers because he's bought these LMG-42s. So, I can't imagine that this is for, you know, the Flammenwerfer half-track. So, I reckon he's going to be using this as a reinforcing half-track. And I haven't seen this in... like, maybe ever in games that I've cast. I don't think I've ever seen an Axis player just use the 251 as a reinforcing point. Which, if you ask me, is a great shame, because I think that is, you know, whenever I play Vermax, call me old hat, call me old school, call me just bad at the game, all these things are true. But I actually really like to use it in the reinforcing role. It just lets you apply so much pressure and just keep taking fights and keep pushing. And because I always use these things, well, I always use one, sometimes two, but usually one. Because I always use them, I'm actually reasonable at microing them, you know, back and forth, keeping them out of fire, because of course they are your soft targets, they are the heart of your army, they are your lifeblood. You lose your half-tracks if you paid for them, and if you're playing that kind of mobile, reinforcing, mobile transporting style, yeah, if you lose them, bad things can happen. But, you know, you put Panzer Grenadiers in them, you put Pioneers in there with Flammenwerfers, and, you know, you can get up on top of your opponents quickly and drop them down to counter weapon teams. You can also move around the map very quickly to capture points and exploit your opponent's weaknesses as and when they, you know, arrive much faster than if your troops were just on foot. It's all very risky, of course, because putting units inside transport's necessarily risky, and of course you never want to hit mines because that's just bad. Anyway, what I'm saying in a nutshell, in a rather long-winded fashion, is that I really like a 251 half-track. I am down with that attack. It is cool. Now, it looks like the Soviet player has mixed in a mortar. We've been hearing that firing for a little while now. Here we have the PM-40, 182mm, sitting around at the back. I like that choice. It's going to help break the deadlock on the right flank, and that's going to be useful. Let's just quickly look at the scoreline. 426 tickets here for Minaslas, 498 for Drago. So Drago, despite having some shaky field control, he has actually pretty much constantly had his teeth in this VP and this VP. So he has opened himself up a bit of a lead, which, you know, you would expect and you would definitely want as the allied player. Now here comes a big old oorah, and a number of AT grenades could find their way onto this half-track. One connects. And this is a very exposed half-track right now. Let's just turn on Fog of War here and select some Soviet units. Okay, the Soviet player doesn't actually know that that half-track is just out here. He has to imagine it's out here somewhere, though. If I was him, I think I would definitely follow that with the two conscript squads who hadn't thrown the AT grenade, because you know the engine's bust. You know, oh! Partisan anti-tank comes down, and Drago... yeah, wow, that's really cool. So we're going to get to see Soviet Reserve Army. Oh, this is awesome. This is kind of what I was hoping for. Woohoo! There we go. The Panzerschreck gets the kill. And that is, what, 210 manpower? 270 manpower. Oh, my mistake. More expensive than I thought. But anyway, 270 manpower. Very well spent there. And that is awesome, actually. That is really cool. I've never seen this Soviet Reserve Army ever played before, but I like all of those abilities, and it's nice to see some utility already being gleaned here by the deployment of the Partisan anti-tank hunters. It's just really nice. That mortar's still hooning in, and actually, look at the minimap. There are significant amounts of Soviet pressure. Oh no, these conscripts are just sadly idle though. I would love to see them just push up and grab that remaining VP on the left there. Oh, sorry, that remaining capture point on the left. But, you know, even failing that, look at the map. So much Soviet pressure being applied here. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing so far from Drago. He's holding this together off of a mostly conscript-based force, and you can tell how fluent and confident he is as he takes a fight here. Conscripts moving on in here. That is a lot of units to move into, though. I don't think conscripts can take... Whoa, the Grenadiers deciding to uproot and move, though. They want to be... Oh, okay, it's because of a Molotov. Good spot there from Minaslas, my bad. But, yeah, of course, those LMG-42s do, you know, they only fire when you're standing still, and they are the primary damage dealers in this infantry force here from Minaslas, so he doesn't want to move those Grenadiers when they're in a fight if he can help it. But as I was saying, yeah, I think the pressure being applied by Drago, really good. Field control, so far, pretty damn fantastic. He's had a resource edge for quite a long time now. Some mines there, tagging an MG42 team on the door of the Godhouse is also very nice. But these Grenadiers are getting scary now, you know. They're all on 2-star vet. And they're all looking pretty dangerous here. That mortar's coming in, though. Oh, look at the clustering here. This is bad. Whoa, you don't want to do this against mortars. Really? That is so dangerous. Conscript here, very low. Could be a stray rifle round to bring him down. No, he's just at the limit of range there, so he's going to survive. Grenadiers going to GTFO here. They need some reinforcements. Again, shame that 251 was lost. I have to say, I think Minaslas was a little slow. Like, as soon as it got AT grenaded, he reversed it to about here and then kind of left it. And I think you need to show a little more respect than that. I think you need to just reverse it the hell out of any kind of... I mean, because, you know, you're playing against a Soviet player, and you saw on the loading screen, he's got the Tank Hunter Partisans. You know, that's a thing he can do. So I think it's a very small mistake, and I think only the very, very top players in the game would have remembered that and kept that 251 away from a building. But it could have been done. You know, that 251 didn't have to die that way. Oh my goodness me. A rifle grenade there, finding those Tank Hunter Partisans absolutely plumb, causing a rain of body parts and gib. And wow, that was just some visual spectacle there. Very nice to see. Again, I've been playing Company of Heroes 2 for years, but the game engine still has a certain charm. It is still occasionally just a thing of beauty. Let's say it. It is. As I take a sip on my tea. I do hope you're joining me. Oh, that's a good cuppa. English breakfast tea. That's right. Yep. Of course, I'm having lunch with the Queen later, after which my butler has prepared a game of croquet between me and the Baron who lives next door. So, yep, doesn't get much more British than today on Magpie's channel. What on earth am I talking about? Let's focus on this game here. Okay, so... let's look at the army compositions here. Top left, top right. There's not, like, any massive skirmishing going on right now. In fact, I tell you what, let's crack the tack. This is a really bad place for the Fermac player to be. He's getting no resources. Oh, no, he's not. He's getting 1 capture point. Okay, he's getting 1 territory points worth of resources. But that's not enough. And he's under... Pardon me, he's under quite the triple cap here, which is going to be like a slap in the face, and so he needs to get some work done. He's got a pack gun, which I quite like, but let's check the tech for the Soviet player. No sign of a Angoville battalion, which I have to say, actually, is slightly baffling. Drago right now is stacking 230 fuel, and this is not a commander who provides you with any fuel outlets. You know, you cannot call in an IS-2 or any other sort of fuel call-ins, so... that fuel, that's a lot of fuel that represents a bit of a waste. Okay, he uses rapid conscription here. Okay, so that's how many munitions? 120, and for every 6 models he loses, I believe, in this fight coming up, he will recoup a conscript squad for free. Whoa, these tank hunters are just getting butcher-red. Okay, they're going to try and fall back, but remember, partisans have, like less durability than your average infantry unit, so taking some fire there. Pack gun going to come under fire here as well. Soviet forces just absolutely owning the east of the map here. This mortar finding yet more hits, nearly at 2-star vet, 6 kills under its belt. Even a glancing hit is going to shift that up to 2 stars. So this mortar has been pretty decent, I reckon. I definitely don't hate this mortar. I gotta say though, Minaslas under considerable amounts of pressure this whole game, and to his credit, except for 1 squad, these Grenadiers have survived quite a long time, and that is evidenced by the fact, like, look how much veterancy is popping up over these Grenadiers. I love the application of LMG-42s as well. I feel like Minaslas is playing a kind of, like, 2013 style, or, like, he's just playing a really old style here. Like, he's using LMG-42s heavily on his Grenadiers, kind of like they're an essential upgrade, which, to be honest, most Wehrmacht players do delay them, like, considerably these days. He's using that 251, and that was built with no munitions in the bank. That was designated reinforcement half-track. That was never going to be anything else. So it does seem like he's playing a very old-school style here as Minaslas, as he finally gets his teeth into a VP. What? Oh, God, yeah, I was going to say, you really do want to capture this. I mean, fuel is really good, but you do want to capture this VP, because you be bleeding out big time, Minaslas. Now he's stacking a lot of manpower. I'd like to see him get like a different unit. Also, BT dubs, support armor core hath finished. So Panzer IV, Ostwind, and the Stug are available whenever he has the fuel, which is it's going to be like at least 3 or 4 minutes at the current rate of income. These pioneers here are going to GTFO. Massive human wave coming in here. Pure Soviet forces. Blow the whistles and yell hoorah, boys, because it is time. Nice target fire there from those grenadiers. Actually gets a squad wipe. Oh, brutal target fire. And now the MG42 gets set up in a great position. Loads of grenadiers coming in. Somehow these 3-star grenadiers are just still alive. And somehow here, Minaslas is going to take a sick fight. I can't see any way here that Drago is going to get out of this. The Molotov's a whiff here. Nicely dodged from Minaslas. The MG42 is the kingmaker in this battle. And there's just nothing left here. These conscripts could take a risk, try for an Ura, hop the fence, and come in for a TOV onto the MG42. But it's too late now. And that is a fantastic turnaround there. Minaslas still stacking his manpower. Like, that is a lot of manpower to be stacking. Also, is it just me? Okay, no, he does have a medic bunker in his base, although it's placed on the wrong side of his HQ building. Hashtag Magpie rant. I'm going to avoid repeating that rant, but you always want to put that medic bunker behind your HQ building. Never in front like this is. But anyway, yeah, so he's getting those Panzer Grenadiers. I reckon that's a really nice choice. I don't know, I guess I don't hate another pack gun, because, I mean, he's just floating a ton of manpower here. He doesn't need more grenadiers. Maybe, actually, yeah, this is a good time to get that second pioneer squad that you're always going to want and need. A Flammenwerfer squad's going to stand you in good stead. He's already got the mine detector, which is really useful, because check this out. There'll be mines popping up all over the place, actually. Oh, wow, 1, 2, 3... That is a ton of mines, actually, that we're seeing. Soviet player here making great use of his munitions, keeping them pretty much flatlining, actually keeping all his resources flatlining, and there's a T-34 on the build queue. So he's gone on up to the mechanized Campanile, and he's going to be getting out the Soviet medium tanks, and right now, there's not that much to deal with it. I mean, there's oh, sick mortar hit there, but the fallback is very prompt from the Axis player Minaslas, so he's going to save his elite Panzer Grenadiers there. That was a clutch pickup. But okay, here comes the Soviet medium. As I take a sip on my drink. Have they like changed the model on these things? I swear that gun looks bigger than it used to. Anyway, 3-star grenadiers in the building here. They're going to receive the first shell courtesy of this T-34. No, they're not actually. Molotov's going to force them back, and the T-34 goes hungry. But Minaslas will have heard it by now. He knows what he's up against. Second pack gun now 2/3 complete, and that's going to be out. He is floating 75 munitions, not nearly enough to think about the Panzerschrecks, but you know, in a couple of minutes he might be able to get some Panzerschrecks. He's up to 85 fuel as well at plus 20. Means that he could have a Panzer IV on the queue in about 2 minutes. That means arriving in sort of 3.5 minutes. Actually, you know, I have no idea what the build time on a Panzer IV is. It feels like it's about a minute, but that's just going from my head. The build times aren't actually displayed in this game, are they? No. That's a thing that should be displayed in every RTS game. There is another cost. Like, hello, can I please select the Axis tech here? There is another cost to these units. Like, okay, so you've got 350 manpower, 125 fuel, 12 population cap, and then there should be a time there, a time thingy telling you how long they take to build. I find that to be essential information. Anyway, Stug here. Stug 3, gonna be the choice. So, I mean, it's clear by the fact that we even have a support armor core. I severely doubt Minaslas gonna pick mechanized assault dock. I just don't think it's gonna. I just don't think this. Whoops! I just don't think this guy really. I mean, all of the advantages he gives you have pretty much been paid for now, if you like, by Minaslas. So that commander wouldn't seem very efficient to me necessarily, unless he just wants the ability to call in a vanilla tiger. But yeah, the lightning warfare gives you vanilla tiger action. Pardon me, as well. So I don't know. I think probably we're going to see a tiger ace. The way Minaslas has been behind this game, the way he's had like no fuel, I think probably it's going to be a tiger ace, but we'll see. Stug here, going to get set up at the back there. it would love to chip into this fight. I don't really know where it's going, to be honest, because if it was just sat here hurling shells into this fight, that would have been pretty useful here. Wow, sick cluster grenade there from the Panzer Grenadiers, absolutely hooning on through these 3 squads. And that's just going to be another triple fallback. The power of the Axis units, for now, eclipsing Soviet units, even in higher numbers. And that is, to a large extent, is because of the veterancy of these units, looking really spicy. So that's very nice. Looks like enforced conscription, sorry, rapid conscription, going to be used again for the Soviet player. So he's going to, yep, there we go. He's just got another free conscript squad coming on in. So looking to make good use of that ability. Rifle grenade comes down. Boom! Wow. Catches Dmitry here. And these Grenadiers going to fall back. Chance for the T-34 to get a squad wipe. No, it's not going to be forthcoming. And now the Stug kind of thinking about trying to take some shots here, but doesn't want to get caught coming around this line of sight blocker. If the T-34 comes forward and the Stug comes forward to here, that's just a nightmare for the Stug. So sensible plays keeping that Stug back. Oh, these Pioneers are sure to be wiped, I think. Oh, there comes the fallback. Okay, maybe they're not. I thought for sure those Pioneers were gonna bite it. They were being surrounded by PPSHs and rifles, but somehow they're okay. Here comes the second T-34. So Drago adding to his armor ranks considerably here, and he still has, like, for my money, the superior force. But it's very close, actually. You know what? I don't even know about that. He definitely still has the superior position in this game, and that's because of the scoreline. Look at this, 143 under 498, an overwhelming advantage here for Drago. But in terms of the actual, you know, field presence of the two armies, oh, wow, third T-34. Okay, I don't know. The third T-34 is that's quite a lot of T-34. But with just 2 T-34s, I think these two forces are evenly matched because, you know, a Stug, 2 pack guns, 3 Fausts, and a okay, yeah, you know, that's reasonable AT. But a third T-34, that could just be too many. This T-34 here, strangely idle and facing in a weird direction. Is he just waiting to ambush the Stug in the flank? It might well be, and if that's the case, Drago's pretty damn smart. Okay, so Stug reveals itself, takes a shot. Here comes the T-34, and the spit roast is established. Little Stug spit roast going down here. Whoa, an abandon on the T-34. That's big news. And there are 2 pack guns here, so I think this Stug is actually probably not going to die. So Drago kind of just giving away, like, I mean, if this thing gets repaired, he will have literally given away, but kind of giving away one of his T-34s here. Bit of a shame, a little bit awkward. Not quite sure what that one was doing, unsupported and just kind of heading on out on the left flank there. That was a little awkward, actually. I think Drago is going to have to look back on that as a mistake. But he's still bleeding out Minaslas, but I think this game is definitely alive. Minaslas, he just needs to try and take a bite out the right flank. That's what he needs to do. He needs to try and fight on the right. And we'll see if he does that. Oh, a dangerous assault here. But the PPSHs are going to get into range, and that's going to force these Panzer Grenadiers to think about moving. And continue to move, actually. Why is this Stug? Okay, he needs to rotate this Stug, like, ASAP. And get it to be firing at these guys. Oh, it's set to prioritize vehicles. This is why. So, okay, he needs to just toggle off the prioritized vehicles, and then it would start hooning on this infantry, which is what he wants it to do. 2 T-34s thinking about moving on into the hood. Looks like they're actually heading north. Possible backstab. They might try and come in from this direction, which would be utterly lethal. Okay, here they come. They are indeed doing as I thought. Looks like they're both set to prioritize vehicles, so the Stug is definitely the prize target here. The pack guns are going to get a nice rotate here. Stug finding a good hit as well. One of the T-34s is just going to get eviscerated, I feel. No! No, it's not, but the T-34s are trying to fire whilst moving, and the Axis have recruited this T-34, so looks like Drago just going to give away his other medium tanks, and oh, dearie me, this is not what you want. Somehow the Axis T-34 coming out of this alive, and now it's 76 supply over 47. Minaslas looking pretty damn good right now. I just think, like, the Soviet army did not hit home as one there. It was like he was able to, like, what did this infantry actually do in that fight? Very little, it felt like. Wow. And, I mean, all of these units here, that's 2 squads of conscripts and a mortar, were just left garrisoning this flank, which I think is appropriate, that's fine. But, I mean, that's why the Soviet army wasn't there in full strength, and now Minaslas knows he has an opportunity. A couple of scouting units of infantry just going to be probing on into this flank, going to try and get a feel for what's going on. Conscripts going to grab the God building, though, and that is just in the nick of time. More conscripts here, and because of the engagement angle on this fight, because of the way that the conscripts have joined the battle around this building, the Axis units, there we go, will be forced to flee because the range is here just too short, the line of sight just too short for the Axis units to hit their maximum DPS, and they're getting sprayed down by PPSHs at point blank, so that's not going to happen. They're going to have to fall back as I take a sip on my tea. Oh, that is some good stuff. Oh, another grimy mortar hit. That mortar must be nearly coming on for 3 stars. Yep, it's getting there. And so Minaslas, let's crack the tack here. Minaslas finds himself firmly in control of the left flank. He's actually getting some resource income now, actually a little bit. But now he has to break the right flank, because unless he actually has some kind of influence over the right flank, he cannot win this game. And he's down now 86 under 498. So an epic lead here, like 410-point victory lead for Drago here. And that's the concern for Minaslas. That's why he can't be sitting back. And I know he's repairing this T-34. I know his maneuverability, his mobility is not very high because he has, couple of pack guns he needs to look after and stuff. But he can't just be sitting around on this flank. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. He needs to crack this hard point. That's what he actually needs to do. Let's just quickly check the tech. Okay, no designs on going for battle phase 3. This mortar just getting cheeky and just going to be shelling down the infantry company here. Oh, that is cheeky indeed. And what are we getting now? An Su-85? I suppose that makes sense, because you know your opponent has a Stug and a T-34, and the Su-85 is actually quite good against those. So I do like that, but I think if I'm Drago, I would just love to see him get a Katusha, maybe? Because I think that this Axis army, besides for the armor, is very susceptible to being Katushed. I mean, he's got 3 weapon teams, and the 2 pack guns especially. If the 2 pack guns aren't on the field, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out this fight. I guess I like the Su-85 first. It's a safer choice than the Katusha, and when you're this far ahead, I guess you can play quite safely.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
So, Minaslas still not choosing a commander. How many? Is it 18? 17 CPs needed for the Tiger Race. Okay, so we're at the stage now where if Minaslas can get up a big enough manpower bubble, I think it's like 800 or something, then he can just call in that Tiger Race. And that's going to have a big impact. Like, this is the kind of board where a Tiger Race can actually come in and just win. So, Drago, well, he does know that elite troops was on the build. But anyway, got a bit of a push out here from Minaslas. He's going to be trying to crack this hardpoint barbed wire. Nicely set up by the Soviet player in advance here. T-34 taking some good shots from this position. Panzer Grenadiers and Flammenwerfer Pioneers leading the charge here and doing good amounts of damage. Going to get up into this building, get some flaming done here. But these Pioneers now turbo low, and there could very well be a squad wipe. Keep an eye up here. And they do get squad wiped. So there go the Flammenwerfer Pioneers. Already 1 squad down for the Axis player. These Panzer Grenadiers are gonna grab that. Oh, but the Panzer Grenadiers get gunned down as well. So Minaslas taking serious losses trying to break this hard point. Absolutely massive losses. Getting the Flammenwerfer on the Panzer Grenadiers though is a that mortar! Really? Wow, that mortar just fired like a point blank round from like here and like bong wee and just like killed them here. That was sickening. So wow, I think losing both of the squads of Panzer Grenadiers, that is pretty backbreaking. And here comes some Tank Hunter Partisans to try and take care of this T-34. So that's pretty brutal. A squad was lost for the Soviets. I did just hear the announcer mention that. I think it was a conscript squad, I'm not sure. Didn't catch it on the screen, or if I did, wasn't aware of it. So sorry about that, guys. But oh my god, this mortar is just being so punishing. Please, Minaslas, fall back these Grenadiers. Wow, once Soviet mortars, I mean, Soviet mortars are... They are not known for their rate of fire, but they are known for their accuracy, and this mortar right now is kind of showing that. The Stug gets taken out by the Tank Hunter Partisans and some sexy mines on the way home, and I think Minaslas loses. I think he knew what he had to do. He's down on 36 VPs. He had to try and assault this hard point here because he had to try and wrest this VP off of the Soviet player. But there we go. Minaslas is going to GG out. Unable in this instance to break the domination of the right flank that Drago was able to put down in a pretty good game. I mean, both players made a lot of mistakes in the opening stages of the game, but I feel like because they each made the same amount of mistakes and because from there they each seemed to play a reasonable game, I feel like that didn't ruin the game or anything like that. I think that was actually a pretty... I mean, it's nice to have an unorthodox, like a weird opening to a game. Minaslas is a player, I've got to say, I would be keen to see him play again simply because he reminds me of days gone by when Wehrmacht was the Axis faction and LMG-42s were what you bought on your Grenadiers when you could, and 251 half-tracks were something you would use for reinforcing, which to be honest, that's never been true. They've always been all about the flamethrower, but you know, some of us used to use them for reinforcing. Anyway, so, I mean, good or bad as he may or may not be, I would like to see Minaslas play again, just because he's just got that retro vintage kind of feel to his style, which it's quite refreshing to me as someone who's been playing the game for quite a long time. Drago here, just a very good player, it seems. Made a few fumbles in the early game, but I liked his decision making. He always seemed to be making appropriate units for the situation at hand, and he always seemed to be applying them. Also, slightly retro in a way because of his reliance on conscripts, getting early Molotovs, which seriously, who does that these days? And going for a commander which gives them PPSH and repairs, and also, of course, has the rapid conscription for buffing your numbers of conscripts and keeping your army at a good population level. So, yeah, it was a nice style to see from Drago. Wouldn't mind casting another one of his games sometime if I see him in the live game lobby. So thank you very much for watching. This for now will be Magpie842 signing out. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Not really. I mean, I'm going to go on, straight after this cast, I'm going to go and cast the Homeworld Deserts of Karak finals for the Artifact Cup number 9. So that will be being uploaded soon. And this week, thank goodness, I am back to kind of business as usual levels, pending a meeting tomorrow, but I should be back to business as usual. So I should be able to upload, hopefully, a cast a day. We'll see. But it would be really, really nice. I'm up for casting Small Company of Heroes 2. Feels like it's been too little recently. So anyway, hopefully there's that to look forward to. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.